Yo, Soundwave. We got a guest that's joining us right now, live in studio, and he goes by the name of Chris Walker. What's going on with you, Chris?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Glad to be here. So,
Chris Walker.
Chris Walker, that's right. Chris likes to do stuff.
Right.
On all the socials.
And Chris does a lot of things. Tell everybody a little bit about some of the things or some of the tasks that you do, which are quite a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So I always say that I'm a creative person that's passionate about storytelling. So whenever you hear that first, it makes sense. But I've been a comic book artist. I colored for Marvel and DC Comics. I've been a graphic.
Which comics?
So I had the pleasure of working with Ed McGuinness on Thundercats when Thundercats first came back. So it was the first appearance.
Rhino.
Yeah. So people they really liked the comic because when I was working on it, I would go and find pictures of the actual cartoon. And I would make the palette match the cartoon. So when people saw it, they were like, is this takeaways from the old cartoon? I was like, no, that's me and Ed jamming.
I've found out that even Thundercats was actually it was almost like a religious cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like a lot of things made sense. The eye.
Yeah.
We looked at the eye, that's the eye of Horus. And it was like a lot of things like really, really made sense. Well, excuse me. Not religious, but they took a lot of things from things you probably learned in school, like Sunday school. And like you were like, what's going on? This looks familiar.
Right.
So I like it subconsciously.
Yeah, and I always say
for all
that.
Religions.
Like the 80s
ancestral things.
The 80s, right? 80s cartoons, 80s shows, they were just good. Like we were talking about MacGyver and MacGyver coming back. And MacGyver was like just a dope show. It was like, all right, we're going to get out of this. I got a pack of bubble gum, 2 pieces of chewed. I got an old pair of shoes, and I got some nitrous oxide, and we're gonna break out. So it was just really inventive, like all the stuff from the 80s. I don't know what happened.
Creativity to the fullest.
Creativity.
Because is what do you do when you only have this?
Right.
Is the situation.
Like the A-Team, like the old A-Team show, like BA every time,
Right.
So
were you into Magnum PI also?
What'd you say?
Were you into Magnum PI also?
Oh, Magnum PI. What was the one with the helicopter? Was it Riptide? So there were some shows like coming out of the 70s going into the 80s. So a lot of the formulas were coming out of there, but they were starting to remix them.
Big up to Stephen Hill, our guy who's on the actual reboot of Magnum PI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's playing TC.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I had an actor. His name is Jonathan. I forget his last name, but he's on Lethal Weapon. He's like the nerdy black scientist.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. So it's funny. Like I'll be watching. I'm like, oh man, there's Jonathan. He's out in L.A. living the life.
Right. So how'd you get your start in all the design and digital stuff?
So, it was one of those things, like I always like comic books, I always like cartoons. So if you see any of my work, I can go all the way back to coloring books that I had when I was a little kid, and you can see me drawing like Spider-Man and Batman and Star Wars. So it's just been something that I've always wanted to do. And that's why I say it's storytelling first. So I went to art school. I was learning painting techniques. And
which school?
East Carolina University. Go Pirates. Okay. They were horrible.
You had to say the whole thing and then go Pirates.
They were horrible when I went to school, and now they like actually rank pretty well. So
you talking about the basketball team?
The football team does pretty well too, right?
Really?
Didn't they like 5 years ago? They were
5 years ago.
The quarterback that came out.
The best thing that y'all have had recently, East Carolina wise, was Josh Norman.
Okay.
The cornerback.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't see how the team.
I mean, when
the quarterback that got killed from his the girl.
I don't know.
NFL years ago.
Maybe. I just remember when we were at school, you didn't even go to the game. You would just you would just tailgate and then go home. That's how bad the sports teams were. Like literally, you would just tailgate and go home.
You ever heard of the Knicks?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So I was there, and then when I was in art school, that's when I discovered it was really about storytelling, because the teachers were like, paint this, paint that, and it got, it was fun, but it got repetitious. So I was like, all right, well, why am I not happy with what I'm working on? And I was like, because to me, a painting is a way to tell a story. And so, there are a lot of times I would butt heads with my teachers because I'm like, all right, well, my painting's done. And they're like, it's not done. I'm like, but it says what it needs to. So I went through a period where I was like trying to do just one painting a day, like speed paintings. Like, all right, boom. So like by the end of a semester, I have like 30 paintings. My teacher was like, that's a quick way to an F. I was like, all right.
So the teacher didn't really understand or see your creativity.
No, they did. I mean, I won't say that they didn't see the creativity, but they definitely had their own thought about what art was, or you know. And as I got older, it's like it's more them saying like, hey, I'm trying to explain something about art to you, so go with me down this pathway, and then when you're done, you can take that and do other things
So
with
they
it.
was ethnocentric in an artistic way.
Yeah. But you know, it's like, I mean, when you're like 18, 19, 20, you can't hear anything. Like, you just out there doing stuff. You know, and I look back and I'm very appreciative for all the things that they taught me.
Who were some of your, or if only one, people that you that inspired you as a young artist growing up? Even in comic books too.
Yeah.
Mine was Todd McFarlane and Eric Larson.
Okay. McFarlane. I remember the heat that he was throwing down on. He definitely changed the game. I hated him. I mean, you know, it's kind of like hating on Rob Liefeld. It's like he did what he did. You know what I mean? Like, he changed the game too. So, and people can hate on him, but when you look back, his stuff does have like a certain energy to it. You know, I was a big Mike Mignola fan, so Hellboy artist. So I have old stuff that he did even before he kind of landed in that style. So he did this this DC graphic novel that's crazy, that was like with the, was it like the Anti-Monitor and all this stuff. So it was like deep nerd cut DC Comics, but he brought that style that he is kind of known for. It was like the beginnings of it, like the broad shapes and like starting to put in like the spot blacks. But then once he got to Hellboy, it was like a whole different level.
It's Thermal Sound Waves, the natural alternative to fast food radio. We here with Chris Walker of the Black Nerds Club.
I have a question though about that. Is it an alternative to that Popeye sandwich though?
Fast food radio.
Oh, my bad.
Alternative
Because
to
that
fast food radio.
Popeyes is.
Yeah,
I've had it twice now. I'm converted.
Okay, well, we're not gonna talk about that right now. They're not kicking in nothing, so we ain't gonna.
No,
put them out there like that. We ain't gonna talk about them right now. So moving on.
They got extra money. They should promo you guys.
Once again, we got Chris Walker here, of course, the Black Nerds Club. Chris likes to do it and all that good stuff, man.
Yep.
Hit us up 347-454-1278. Email us thermalsoundwaves@gmail.com. We're gonna come back and talk about some of the things as far as like graphics. And before because I want to get to the Black Nerds Club thing, because we're dealing with that in this month specifically. But before I go to that, what's your thoughts on The Watchmen?
You know, I actually have not watched it yet.
I haven't.
I hear it is amazing.
People telling me, oh, you got to see. I haven't seen it, but people tell me you got to check it out.
I haven't watched The Wire either, so.
Okay, we're done. All right. We're done. Chris, come on, Chris. The Wire is like.
But it's
how long ago was The Wire out?
But wait, it's a compliment, because I know once I start, I'm gonna have my life is gonna be gone for a while. Oh, man. I didn't have HBO, man. I was an artist. What can I say?
It's no longer on HBO.
No, I meant I actually watched it. I watched it all the way through. It was great.
Okay, good. I was about to say, you haven't seen The Wire at this point. What's going on with you? But you're doing something with Black Nerds Club.
Yeah.
But tell everybody what you're doing with the Black Nerds Club.
Definitely. So Black Nerds Club is something that I founded. It's a cultural initiative, really just to celebrate Black nerds and what Black nerds have done in culture, in our community, and society. So if you think about it from that standpoint, you know, Black nerds have always been here, have always moved culture and society forward. And I thought it'd be really fun to celebrate that. So we are doing the first ever online award show celebrating Black nerds. It's called The Nerdies. And so we're giving out Black Nerd Awards. So the first one was the OG Nerd Award. It was Frederick Douglass. So if you think about what he did and how smart he was and how he helped to move society forward.
They don't give him enough credit.
Right?
They don't.
Right. Well, you know, and we have the History Nerdy. So it's really like just a way to celebrate the things that we've done. So when I was putting it together, I just looked through a lot of different categories, and I was like, you know, there's history, there's business, you know, there's pop culture. We also have arts and entertainment. The kind of division there is like pop culture, I think more of like people. So if you're like a person in pop culture, either a celebrity or an influencer, content creator, but then for the arts, it's really like the actual thing. So if it's a comic book or a movie or something like that. But really trying to, capture a lot of different things.
And I'm looking on the Instagram page right now, which is where you can see all of these on the it's Black Nerds Club on Instagram.
Yep.
And some of the people that you have or have given out an award to: Jaleel White, infamous for playing the Urkel character on Family Matters.
That is the most popular post.
I would think so.
The most popular post of the awards so far.
Absolutely. Have Matthew Cherry.
Had to give it to him after the Oscar.
DJ Lady D.
Yeah, do you know Lady D from out in Chicago?
I don't know
House
her,
DJ?
I don't know her personally, but I've heard of her.
Yeah. I was in Shy for a couple of years, so she's really good people.
The wonderful Cree Summer, one of my favorites.
Right? That is the second most popular post, and I only think because she came out after Jaleel. I think she's gonna surpass him. Like people love her.
I do too.
Her.
Like she was. What was it? A Different World. When she was
Yep,
on Different
Freddie.
World, like that was my favorite character on there by far. And
she has an album produced by Lenny Kravitz.
Crazy.
Yeah, Different World has been, I think, in over 200 titles. Has voiced over 300 characters, and has an album by Lenny Kravitz. I'm like, that was glow up before glow up was a term.
A Different World sent so many people to college.
Yes.
So many black people went to college because of A Different World.
Yep.
And became positive people.
Yep.
A Different World was there before people like Sean Combs went to Howard University.
Right.
And then what happened? He met other people. Derek D. and Jalady went to Howard. So many people went through Howard, even with a go-go experience, and they all became the people that are running businesses now.
Right.
Like it's
and that's a shout out to HBCUs and what they've really done in America and how they've really been the backbone of America and definitely black nerd culture. So and we are, as Black Nerds Club, I'm like very, very excited to try to do more things with HBCUs.
Oh, and we definitely need to support them more.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they have some issues as far as like, funding and things like that. But they need to be definitely supported more because of the phenomenal things and people that they've brought up.
Definitely. I'm from North Carolina, so shout out to A&T and Bennett, because those are the colleges that were literally in my neighborhood growing up as a kid. We would go on A&T's campus. We would ride our bikes by Bennett. So shout out to those universities.
What city in North Carolina?
Greensboro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aggies.
Now,
go Aggies.
Another favorite one that you did was Arturo Alfonso Schomburg.
Yes.
Whose library I sat in on many a day, just going through like some of the historical pieces and things that he researched and put in that library.
Right. Yeah, like that library is built off his collection.
They think he's Caucasian.
Yeah. It's interesting because he's Afro-Latino too. So I felt very like humbled, and it was an honor to like really put that on there, because there's so many intersection points in our culture, right? So when it comes to Hispanic community, when it comes to I have Native American in my family, when it comes to Asian community,
because they think Hispanics only have to look a certain complexion.
Oh yeah. And
look a certain way. And
exactly. And that's a big conversation that's starting to happen more and more. So yeah, that's why I thought it was really cool to have him up there.
Absolutely.
On top of the fact that like it was his collection that started, the whole library. And it was really cool when I was doing the research. It's like, he got it bought for $10,000 in 1926. So I don't know how much money that was if you do the exchange rate. Right. A lot of money. And then he used that money to go buy more materials. So that's why I was like, definitely a book nerd. It's like, I got this cash, I'm buying more books.
No doubt, absolutely.
Are we on there? See,
we got the honorary mentions coming in.
Okay,
we got them coming.
All right, we got how many more weeks left?
Didn't y'all do that to me last time I was on there? Like Chris, when we gonna be in the comic? When that
we did. We did do that.
What happened after that? See,
I don't know. I mean, did the comic come out? Like, are you still working on the comic? Like, did it come out?
We still have Relic.
Thug era. Sorry,
we still have Relic. So yes. But we're gonna put y'all in the background. So actually, not in the background. We're gonna have supporting.
Yeah,
speaking roles.
We'll do
well,
something.
not speaking word balloon roles, right?
We'll do something significant.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes.
Now, what has the response been for all the nerdies so far?
It's been great. So when I look at it, social is hard right now because social, it's really pay to play with the platform. So if you think about Facebook, you think about Google, the way the algorithms have like really dominated everything. So from an organic standpoint of just posting hashtags, we have almost tripled our following in 3 weeks. So that lets me know that people are really into it. I work in advertising for a while, so I won't get into all the jargon, but when it comes to the engagement, sometimes the amount of engagement that we had from the following was sometimes 2 or 3 times. So like those are like real numbers with people really being excited.
So you're also an engagement specialist when it comes to algorithms.
I wish, but I've been around it enough to know. And then like, our click-through rate too. So if you think about people looking at the post and then liking the post, it's almost 10%. So those are just good, healthy numbers from a social media standpoint that says like, hey, this is striking a chord with our audience, and, it's reflecting how they feel about things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And once again, you can see all this Black Nerds Club on Instagram, blacknerdsclub.com.
Yeah, blacknerdsclub.com, Black Nerds Club on Instagram, same thing with Twitter. We're really more focused on Instagram. So if you go to the website, definitely do, I would say, sign up through the website so that we can grab your info and we can put you in the newsletter and that sort of thing. Or definitely follow us on Instagram. Feel free to, direct message us, that sort of thing. So we'll definitely be doing more stuff. And I got a plug for that after.
Okay. And what are you doing with apparel? You're doing some things with apparel also, right?
Yeah. So we partner with Threadless. If you remember Threadless back in the day, they were the website where they would have different design competitions, and whoever won, their shirt would get turned into a design. And so it was a big deal with graphic designers for a while. And so they have artist shops where they can help you develop your own shop. So I was like, hey, let's put up some T-shirts. It's like print on demand, so it didn't cost out of pocket. Again, just a way to see, like, is there interest? And so the shop's done really well. We've had people buy stuff, especially over the holidays. They'll get it. And then people are, like, taking pictures of themselves, tagging themselves online, making stories with themselves. And so we've got one guy, he actually bought a hoodie and took it to Disneyland and was rocking it at Disneyland, hugging Mickey Mouse. So I'm like, again, striking a chord.
The power when people actually, support.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing with the brand. Like, I appreciate people supporting us, but it's really about supporting, Black nerds in our community, right? It's about being smart. It's about being fun. It's about, understanding that everybody's a nerd about something. Everybody's passionate about something. If you're a fantasy football guy or gal, and you can quote all the stats, like, you're a nerd. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but I can't quote all that. So you're a nerd. You can be a fashion nerd. You can be, I talk about a lot, with like LeBron James. It's like, oh, go push a basketball. It's like, no, LeBron's kind of a genius when it comes to basketball.
Yes,
he's a basketball nerd,
So let me ask you this. Being that you are creative with the pen, the paintbrush, everything, when it comes to anime, do you feel that Black people are somewhat pushed out of Japanese anime? Like, do they accept your pen, or do they only want it to look one way, Europeanish, and that's it?
So that's the weird thing about anime, right? Like, you can see like a lot of European feature sets, but then I think as anime has grown, and I think really like anime has seen that there's a large, Black audience for it, I think those feature sets are starting to be there. So I'm a big Naruto fan. I'm gonna show you something. You guys like Naruto?
You serious? Like, I know those things.
Senju Clan, Thousand Skills Clan, Anbu,
no,
the Sharingan.
But that's what I'm saying. You have the tattoos. So with that, because anime, even though anime don't look like the Japanese people, it always looked to me, it looked more so as Europeans.
I
agree. Straight pointy nose, a straight the chin like a V and everything, and it was very Europeanish. And that's all cool, but it's like, they look at you like, do they curve their features now?
They do. So if you look at Naruto, there's like a whole Black clan, ninja clan, out of the mountains. So like
where
the Lightning Clan,
from?
They don't get that deep.
Oh, okay.
But that's the whole clan. So Mike Daniels, who is now plays for Detroit Lions, they did a whole documentary on him on Crunchyroll. And so he's a huge anime fan, and so he played the Hokage from the Lightning Clan. So they're called A and B. Those are like the two main guys. And so he dressed like A, and went to San Diego Comic-Con and looked just like the character. Wow. Yeah. So I mean, that's what I say. Black Nerds Club, like it goes deep, deep. Right. He says he's an anime fan first, and then football player second. And so he sees himself as like Goku, on the football field.
Ah, okay, yeah. Okay. Now, would you ever want to put together like a festival or like a something similar to a Comic-Con for everything that you do?
Yeah, I think there's so many cool cons going on right now too. There's Blur City Con, I think that's in Brooklyn. Schomburg has their convention. Do you remember the name of their convention?
I don't know that I remember the name, but I know they do have it going on.
Yeah, me and Curtis Sharon might be doing something with Black comics.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then there's a Black Age of Comics. There's Wakanda Con in Chicago. There's Afro Comic Con in Oakland.
Ekbach in Philly.
There's a Blurred Con in DC. So I don't know what we would add to it, but definitely I would like for us to attend and help those cons be more successful.
Gotcha.
I do have an idea for a con, but it's not necessarily, it wouldn't be Black Nerds Club. It would be more kind of cool kids. So just bringing that kind of like sneakerhead vibe to Comic-Cons, but that's still part of, sneakerheads are nerds too. Like, let's be honest.
No, no.
When you own 300 pairs of shoes, like,
for sure,
you a nerd.
Yeah, and like each particular style, the year,
the designers.
Yeah, all that. All that. Now, where do you see things going future wise with the way everything is now is at the forefront pretty much?
Right.
Where do you see it going from here?
With nerd culture?
Yeah, nerd culture. Because it covers like everything.
Right. Yeah. My big thing with nerd culture is I think because of phones and the internet and digital, everybody's kind of a nerd now. So before where, you were a nerd if you had a computer, everybody's got like a phone. Everybody's dealing with like a Fire Stick at the house, So I think as generations have gotten younger, being a nerd has become a point of pride. So everybody's like, yo, I'm kind of nerdy, or I'm a nerd about this. So I think it is now a badge of pride, whether or not you're like an all-encompassing nerd and that's like your identity, or there's this thing that you feel really nerdy about. Like I think about, Dilla or Pete Rock, like those are producer nerds, right? Like they can, Primo, they can tell you stuff about beats and NPCs and, all those things that, just come with dedication and passion. And that's one of the things that I really want with Black Nerds Club is to highlight that fact that whenever you become that passionate about something, that it transcends.
Absolutely. So tell everybody where they could get all of this culture, the nerdies, where they could see that, where they could get involved with that, vote on it, like click through it, like all those things where they can get the apparel, like all of that.
Definitely. So again, we're really focused on Instagram right now. So if you go to Instagram, just put in Black Nerds Club, you can find it. If you put in the Nerdies, it's NERDIES or the Nerdies. The content will come up. And then if you're on the Instagram site, there's a click through to the apparel line. And then we actually have a talk. So we're also Black Nerds Club on Facebook, but we're doing a talk. It's Black Nerds Club presents Do What You Love. And that's one of WeWork's like big taglines is do what you love, like be creative, live your passion, find, start your business. So it's actually going to be a panel discussion with the host, Fantastic Frankie. She's like blowing up. She's like a Blurred girl. Blurred is like black nerd. It's like slang. And so, but we're going to have a discussion where it's going to be Stephen Harris, who's a comic book artist here in town. He won an award for, so he's going to be there. Jamil Newkirk, who's a graphic designer. He's done a lot of stuff. And then Blair is going to be there. She's a digital marketer. And so I'm just going to have a panel of people just talking about the things that they're into. So that's going to be next. If you go to the Facebook page, you can see the event. And I'll probably throw up the link, the event link on the Instagram page too. My mind, I'm still getting in the habit of social media. Like I understand it, but like it's so thorough and detailed how you have to be on social, man.
Yeah. It's things on top of things on top of things. And
was it Linktree? When Linktree came out, I was like, oh, so now I can click and click and then click.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you're opening the door, like it's a big maze to nowhere. You're opening another door to open another door to open another door, but you're never really going anywhere. It's like you're standing in the same spot, opening doors and like going around.
So
in
open
a
a door to a cupcake, and then a cat, and then somebody doing something stupid, and then back to a cupcake.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember like when internet first started out, I talked to a friend of mine. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm not doing anything. Like I'm not getting anything done. But to your point, I feel like I'm doing stuff all day and my attention span is gone. And then all this stuff comes out that's like, yeah, social media has like made us have the attention span of goldfish. And I was like, I thought I knew that, but I can't remember what I was actually thinking about when I thought I knew that. So yeah.
Running fast.
Exactly.
To nowhere.
Going nowhere.
Yeah, going nowhere.
And you said you at some point you're gonna start to televise the awards or something else that you were doing. You're gonna televise?
Yeah, we're gonna do some Facebook Live. So we're gonna get back on the treadmill. We're gonna talk to some people who have accepted their awards and like their awards, and then ultimately the goal is to do something that could be televised. So the awards, this is like the first year just to like get it out there, get it past concept, get it where people can see it, interact with it. And again, it's gone really well. People really love it. So I've had both agencies, and brands, as well as some of the tech platforms really interested in it.
Yeah, I'm sure for their own reasons. They need that audience. They want that. They want that audience.
And I don't mind, but they got to give us something back.
For sure. Right? Definitely. Well, I thank you for coming through and taking some time out to tell us about the wonderful things that you're doing, especially with the Nerdies and Black Nerds Club.
Definitely.
And we definitely got to have you come back because I know there's a lot of things you do constantly. So whenever you want to come through, just let us know and we'll have you back like easily. No problem.
For sure. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it as always.
No doubt. Right. Chris Walker, y'all, Black Nerds Club. Make sure you check it out. Hit up the Instagram, Black Nerds Club on Instagram. Check out the Nerdies and all the different contents that they have on there. Also, click on that Threadless to get the apparel as well and support the movement. All right, it's Thermal Sound Waves, a natural alternative to fast food radio. Thermal Sound Wave.